You felt it, haven't you? That quiet, unshakable sense that you don't belong, not because you're broken but because you're built differently. The world spins on noise, chaos, and conformity, but you? You thrive in the silence, in the spaces where others fear to tread. You're not lost, you're just on a frequency most can't tune into. And that's exactly why you're here. Welcome to the Sigma Male community, where we don't just understand the struggle, we embrace it. Today we're diving deep into the 11 struggles that make Sigma males isolate themselves. But this isn't about glorifying loneliness, it's about recognizing the cost of walking a path that few dare to follow. If you've ever felt like an outsider in a world that demands you fit in, this is for you. Let's begin. 1. The Identity Crucible. You don't just resist societal molds, you shatter them. The pressure to twist yourself into the gregarious colleague or the conformist family member isn't just uncomfortable. It's a fundamental mismatch of who you are at your core. This psychic friction isn't awkwardness, it's the clash of an authentic soul against a world obsessed with pre-cut templates. Isolation becomes your sanctuary, a realm where you don't have to explain or justify your existence, where the exhausting charade of fitting in dissolves into raw, unfiltered being. You're not withdrawing from weakness, but from a fierce resolve to protect a self that refuses to bend. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire yet found peace in his private reflections, unshackled by the expectations of his time. Much like you, carving your own path through a world that doesn't get it. This isn't about hiding, it's about preservation. The silence of your solitude isn't a void, it's alive with the pulse of a consciousness that won't be tamed. While others trade their essence for a seat at the table, you choose the harder road, staying true to the man you know you are. The cost is steep, solitude often is, but it's a price you pay with pride. Because the alternative, a life warped into someone else's shape, is a betrayal you'll never stomach. You retreat not to escape, but to stand firm in a truth the world can't dilute. In that space you find freedom, a rare and rugged liberty that defines the Sigma male. 2. Detachment, the double-edged sword. Your ability to rise above emotional storms and societal noise is a gift few possess. You see through the fleeting dramas and manufactured outrage that trap most men, standing unshaken where others falter. This isn't indifference, it's clarity, a mastery of self that lets you conserve your energy for what truly matters. But this strength has a shadow. To those still drowning in their feelings, your calm looks like coldness, your focus like a snub. They don't see the discipline it takes to detach, they just see distance. And so, the walls rise, not by your choice but by their misreading of your nature. This misunderstanding drives you deeper into your fortress of self-reliance. Like the Stoic sage who knows peace comes from within, you've learned to navigate life without being swept away by its currents. You're not numb, you feel deeply, but you engage on your terms, not the world's. Isolation becomes the space where your equilibrium thrives, unjudged and undisturbed. It's not that you reject connection, it's that you reject chaos masquerading as closeness. Your detachment isn't a flaw, it's a shield, and in its shadow, you build a life of purpose and power that others can only admire from afar. 3. The authenticity tax. Your refusal to live a borrowed life is nothing short of revolutionary. Every dodged compromise, every rejected script, piles up a debt you pay in solitude, a tax on staying true to yourself. While others barter their authenticity for applause, you hold fast to a core that won't negotiate. This isn't pride, it's a pact with your own soul. The world dangles cheap, flimsy bonds built on pretense, but you demand something real, something forged in the fire of integrity. Finding men who'll match that standard is like panning for gold in a desert, rare and fleeting. So, you walk alone not out of disdain but because fake connection is a toxin you won't touch. Think of Diogenes, lantern in hand, rejecting the hollow norms of his day to live unapologetically real. Like him, you pay a steep price for this honesty, but it's worth every solitary step. Your isolation isn't a punishment, it's the byproduct of a life that won't settle for less. In that quiet, you find a dignity most never touch, a strength born from refusing to sell out. You don't need the crowd's nod, you've got something better, the respect of the man staring back in the mirror. That's the Sigma way, costly yes but unbreakable. For depth in a shallow stream. Small talk doesn't just bore you, it starves you. Your mind craves the plunge into ideas, philosophies, the raw meat of human experience, not the tepid splash of gossip or forced banter. The shallow stream of everyday chatter feels like a chokehold on a soul built for deep waters. This isn't snobbery, it's how you're wired. Surface-level noise drains you while depth fuels you. Isolation becomes your lifeline, the place where silence lets your thoughts stretch and soar without the drag of meaningless words. You're not here to float, you're here to dive. Like a stoic seeking wisdom over distraction, you know real value lies beneath the surface. When the world offers nothing but puddles, you retreat to the ocean of your own mind. It's not arrogance, it's survival. The decompression of solitude after the dissonance of shallow exchanges is where you recharge, where the profound takes root. You don't reject people, you reject the triviality that passes for connection. In that quiet, you find the substance others chase but never catch, a depth that sets you apart and keeps you strong. 5. The Vulnerability Veto. Your independence is a fortress, but beneath it lies a guarded core. Opening up isn't just hard, it's a calculated risk, a handing over of trust that few earn. You feel as deeply as anyone, but the thought of that intensity being met with confusion or betrayal locks the gates tight. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a weapon you wield with precision, and the wrong hands can turn it against you. So the armor stays on, not out of fear, but out of a hard-earned wisdom that knows true connection demands rare understanding. Isolation becomes your shield, a space where your depths don't need defending. This isn't about shutting out the world, it's about controlling what gets in. Like a stoic guarding his inner peace, you've built your solitude from the bricks of past lessons, each one a reminder of why trust is a privilege, not a given. You don't crave isolation, you demand the conditions for real intimacy, and most can't meet you there. Your retreat is strategic, a way to preserve the sensitive strength beneath your surface. Until someone proves they can handle the weight of your truth, you stand alone, not broken but whole, waiting for the worthy. 6. Innovation's lonely forge. Your mind doesn't settle for the familiar, it forges the new, the bold, the untried. But trailblazing comes with a catch. The further ahead you see, the fewer who can follow. You hear symphonies while others hum old tunes, and explaining your vision often meets blank stares or pushback. This isn't ego, it's the natural gap between the pioneer and the pack. Isolation becomes your workshop, where ideas take shape without the drag of conventional minds. Like Tesla, laboring alone to birth inventions the world wasn't ready for, you thrive in the friction of being misunderstood. That friction isn't failure, it's proof you're cutting new ground. A Stoic values reason over conformity, and you embody that, crafting your breakthroughs in solitude's fire. You don't retreat to sulk, you retreat to build, to hammer out what others can't yet grasp. The loneliness of innovation isn't a burden, it's the forge where your genius sharpens. You're not just ahead of the curve, you're drawing it. And in that space, away from the noise, you create what will one day change the game. 7. The space imperative. Space isn't a want, it's a need as vital as air. Crowds, chatter, the constant press of others' energy don't just tire you, they disrupt your core. You're not antisocial, you're wired for clarity, and that demands room to breathe, think, exist. Social overload feels like an invasion, a breach of the conditions you need to operate at full strength. Isolation isn't rejection, it's restoration, a return to the equilibrium that lets you engage the world on your terms. Your boundaries aren't walls, they're the framework of your power. A Stoic knows his strength lies in protecting his inner citadel, and for you, that citadel needs space to stand tall. You retreat to recharge, to realign, to keep the chaos at bay. Others might see distance, but you see necessity. Mental and physical spaciousness is where you thrive. It's not about pushing people out, it's about pulling yourself together. In that stillness, you find the calm that fuels your resilience, a quiet that isn't empty but brimming with potential. That's your edge, and you guard it fiercely. 8. Mastery demands monastic focus. When you lock onto a craft or passion, you don't dip a toe, you dive into the abyss. This isn't a hobby, it's a calling, a relentless pursuit that consumes you. Hours vanish as you chase excellence, lost in a flow that shuts out everything else. This focus is your strength, but it's a solitary road. There's no space for distractions or small talk when you're forging mastery. Relationships fade not from neglect, but from the sheer intensity of your commitment. Isolation becomes your ally, the sacred ground where you hone your edge. Like a Stoic disciplining himself for greatness, you know true skill demands sacrifice. You trade shallow ties for deep ability, and that choice shapes you. Solitude isn't a loss, it's the chapel where you worship your craft, where every moment builds towards something extraordinary. Others might not get it, but you don't need them to. In that quiet, you find a purpose that outshines fleeting connections, a mastery that marks you as a man apart. This is your path, and you walk it with unwavering resolve. 9. A value system, the internal compass. Your principles aren't swayed by cheers or jeers, they're forged within, a compass that points true no matter the storm. You don't bend to the crowd's whims or the latest fad, even when it'd be simpler. This self-governance sets you free, but it sets you apart. Standing firm when others sway means standing alone, a lighthouse in a sea of shifting tides. You don't seek validation from the masses, you seek alignment with the man you've chosen to be. That's your strength, and it's a solitary one. A Stoic lives by virtue, not applause, and you embody that unyielding code. Like Cato defying corruption at any cost, you hold your ground when it counts. Isolation isn't a side effect, it's the natural state of a mind that answers only to itself. The marketplace of opinions can't sway you, it can barely reach you. Your solitude is your sovereignty, a space where your values reign supreme. You don't need the world's agreement, you've got your own, and that's enough. 10. Solitude, the cultivated sanctuary. You don't just endure being alone, you've turned it into a superpower. This isn't about loneliness, it's about thriving in a space you've made your own. In the quiet, your mind sharpens, your creativity ignites, and your soul resets, free from the grind of social performance. Others see absence. You see empowerment, a sanctuary where you're at your peak. They wonder why you're alone. You know it's where you're strongest. This isn't retreat, it's reclamation, a choice to wield solitude like a tool. A Stoic finds peace in self-sufficiency, and you've mastered that art. Isolation isn't a fallback, it's your strategic high ground, a place where you rise above the fray. Forced company dulls your edge, solitude sharpens it. You've turned what others dread into your advantage, a cultivated haven where you rule. In that stillness, you don't just survive. You dominate, building a life of clarity and strength that others can only envy. This is your domain, and you own it. 11. The Conformity Gauntlet. The world's pressure to dim your light isn't subtle, it's a daily grind against your soul. Laugh at the right jokes, nod at the right opinions, follow the right trends? That's not just tedious, it's suffocation. You don't resist for kicks, it's a matter of survival. Blending in feels like erasing yourself, a betrayal you can't abide. Isolation becomes your free air, the only place where you can move, think, be without the weight of someone else's script. You're not running, you're refusing to kneel. A Stoic lives by reason, not the crowd's roar, and you stand tall in that truth. Conformity's chains aren't abstract, they're real, and you break them every day. Solitude is your defiance, your proof that you won't be molded into something less. You walk alone because the price of fitting in is your essence, and that's a deal you'll never take. In that resistance you find not just freedom but power, a strength that makes you untouchable. This is the Sigma male's fight, and you win it every time you choose yourself. You've just walked through the 11 struggles that carve the Sigma male's path to isolation. But here's the kicker, this isn't defeat, it's the raw material of your power. At Sigma Male Community we don't just name the fight, we arm you to win it, turning solitude into strength, struggles into triumphs. You're not alone in this, you're part of a brotherhood that gets it, a tribe of men who refuse to bow. If this hit home, smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with a man who needs it. Let's build something unstoppable together. Welcome to Sigma Male Community, where your path becomes your legacy.